The moon is like a remote control that controls the natural environment of our planet. If the moon is much more closer to the Earth, then the Earth will cause frequent geological activities like earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, etc. Hello everyone! This is Fivo Mystery Cases, and today we're gonna talk about the moon. Have you heard about the story of the character Chang'e in Mobile Legends? Let's talk about her story. During that time, 10 suns appeared in the sky and the earth was extremely dry. Farmers cannot grow crops to survive. A young hero named Yu Yi, Chang'e's husband, hit the 9 consecutive sun with his bow. But one of Yu Yi's apprentices, who loved the beauty of his wife, also wanted to take her pills. Chang'e took 2 pills by mouth. Her body became lighter and lighter, so it eventually floated to the moon. Since then, they have never seen each other again. People are commemorating this beautiful love story every August 15th of the Chinese lunar calendar. It is called the Mooncake Festival or the Middle Autumn Day. That day in the calendar is the roundest day of the autumn harvest moon every year. In some other serious and more scientific aspect, the moon is an essential part of the Earth's sky. The moon is something we are both familiar with and unfamiliar with. Let's find out as we talk about it some more. First of all, let's take a look at a few questions about the moon. For example, there is no air on the moon. Why can the American flag still flutter after the Apollo 11 landing? At this time, the national flag for the moon landing is made of very hard nylon cloth, and the flagpole uses an L structure to ensure that the national flag can look like a fluttering place in a vacuum-like place. Astronauts on the moon cannot see the stars in the sky after landing on the moon. This is because the moon landing was performed during the daytime of the moon. The moon has no atmosphere, resulting in the strong sunlight, and the light of a star is buried. In the case of vacuum, to avoid starlight when shooting stars, it is also necessary to extend the exposure time. The moon always faces the Earth. The moon always faces the Earth because the tide is constant. Each celestial body has tidal power, and a larger celestial body can lock a smaller celestial body. For example, Mars can lock 2 of its moons. Jupiter locked up its 8 moons. They all face the planet on one side, and the rotation and revolution are the same, which is not unusual. The craters of the moon are very shallow. The moon's craters are not deep. The average is 6 to 8 kilometers. For example, the Icon Basin at the moon's south pole is one of the largest craters in the solar system. It is 2,500 kilometers in diameter, but only 13 kilometers deep. At this, the moon's gravity is very small, and there is no soil on the moon's surface, just like a sand particle. Below the sand is hard rock, so the meteorite can hit the deep place, leaving only a large shallow pit on the sand. The difference is huge. The front is relatively flat. The black part is called Moon Sea. At this time, the trip was cooled by the Moon Magma Sea. There are basically craters on the back, and there are more peaks and canyons. This is because the moon shell is uneven. The latest gravitational wave detector launched by the United States through the detection of the lunar shell found that the moon's front shell is relatively thin and the reverse side is thick. On the thin side, the magma inside the ruptured shell of the shell collapsed after various meteorite impacts. Moon Rock Age Mystery. 6 Apollo moon landings brought back a total of 381 kilograms of lunar rocks. Analysis of these rocks reveals that these rocks are older than the Earth. By monitoring the isotopes of oxygen in the rocks, they found out that the rocks on the Earth are exactly the same as Moon. Isotope is like the DNA of the planet, which shows that the Earth and the Moon are from the same source. As for the Moon's rock age, it is because there is not too much geological movement on the Moon's surface. The Earth is different. The oldest stones are all underground. Lunar hollow. The earliest to put forward this theory was the astrophysicist Mikhail Vasily of the former Soviet Union and Alexander Shcherbakov. In 1969, Apollo 12 struck the moon's surface with an abandoned lunar module. The lunar seismograph recorded the lunar earthquake. The monthly shock from the impact lasted more than an hour. If it is a solid sphere, the time should be 15 to 30 minutes. This further proves that the moon is hollow. The stones on the moon are mainly basalt, and these stones are very dry without the invasion of the atmosphere, so the resistance to shock waves will be much smaller. The time of shaking will become longer, and the lunar shock test at that time could only explain the situation on the lunar surface. Is there a UFO on the moon? First, we can imagine, if there are aliens, where are they most likely to build a base? It must be on the moon because there are some parts of the moon that remain unseen because it's very indiscernible. Even if there is an alien base, it is impossible to build a base on the surface of the moon. Aliens will definitely be living underground. The earliest astronauts thought it was an ordinary rock, but with a weird shape. But when NASA released the picture, it has caused widespread discussion. NASA subsequently modified the photo and it made people more doubtful. This photo has been blurred in photos published by NASA. The space around the ship is clear, but the parts of the ship are blurry. What is the natural inheritance of the moon? There are 5 explanations for the origin of the moon. Earth capture. Earth capture says that the moon was originally an alien object, grabbed by Earth's gravity as it passed by, thus orbiting the Earth. Earth-Moon homology. The explanation is that the Earth and the Moon are made up of the same planetary dust cloud in the solar system. The Moon is composed of the remaining material after Earth was formed. This can answer the same isotope, but cannot explain that the Moon's core is much smaller than the Earth. If they come from the same source, at least their proportions should be similar. The Earth splits. This is to say that the Earth was the initial journey. Because the speed was too fast, a part of the material was dumped out, and the dumped particles formed the current moon. Impact. This hypothesis assumed that the moon was created after the Earth collided with another planet, called Theia, about the size of Mars. If it is really Theia that contributed to the birth of the moon, then the moon should be composed of a mixture of lunar Earth and Theia. The core of the moon must have material from Theia, which cannot explain that the oxygen isotopes in the moon and the Earth's rocks are the same. Thus, this theory is also hearsay. The donut theory. This statement is the latest explanation given by planetary science teaching. What is said is that the moon originated from rocky seam like donut. Scientists propose that when the Earth was formed, it was not a sphere but a dish. This is a state between the planet and the debris. At this time, an asteroid turned around. The impact allowed the Earth, atmosphere, water, and rocks to evaporate, leaving only one core. And the impacted asteroid also broke into tiny particles, mixed in the rock seam. After millions of years of cooling, the Earth and the Moon were formed. This state of steam is called synestia. These hypotheses explain that the Earth and the Moon are homologous and the core density is different, and simulate such scenarios in the calculation set. Discovery has a chance to produce a planet like the Moon. Perhaps this is the most reasonable explanation for the birth of the Moon. With so much to say, one more mysterious phenomenon about the moon is the total solar eclipse. A total solar eclipse is actually a phenomenon in which the moon moves in front of the Earth and completely just blocks the sun to form a total solar eclipse. Why is the moon perfectly blocking the sun? This means that the moon has exact distance on the Earth, not too far, and not even near. At the very beginning, the Earth rotated quickly, only 5 hours a day. Because of the tidal force of the Moon, the Earth's rotation speed slows down and fully decelerated. Only in the original 5 hours to now, nearly 24 hours of rotation. It can be said that the gravity of the Moon is the best stabilizer of the Earth. Points the Earth's rotation axis near to the North Star. The time axis and the revolution plane maintain an angle of 66 degrees, 34 minutes so that the Earth has 4 seasons. More importantly, the existence of the Moon has caused tidal fluctuations in the oceans of the Earth. The friction caused by this tide is caused by a sharp increase in the temperature inside the Earth, and the charged geocentric lava melts, thereby generating a strong Earth magnetic field. The Earth's magnetic field has become a protective shield, reducing a lot of intrusions from space cosmic rays and continuing life on Earth. Without this protective shield, there will be no life on Earth. The Ordovician mass extinction, which occurred 440 million years ago. Because global temperature dropped by 2 to 3 million years, causing 85% of species to die out. Second is the Devonian marine life mass extinction, 365 million years ago. The reason is that the global temperature have plummeted. Third is the Permian mass extinction of 250 million years ago. 96% of the species on the planet became extinct. This is also the worst biological extinction event on the planet. The reason may be that the world's ultra-large-scale volcanic eruption lasted 200 million years. This time has made the Earth's ecosystem the most thorough improvement. The large land area also provided conditions for the subsequent birth of reptiles such as dinosaurs. Fourth is the 75% of the marine life of the Triassic mass extinction was 200 million years ago, due to a supervolcanic eruption. The fifth time was the extinction of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, this time causing the age of the dinosaur family. 80% of the life on Earth is destroyed. The reason is speculated that the asteroid hit the Earth, but this time provided conditions for the birth of mammals. I don't know if you have noticed that every mass extinction event is to give birth to mammals. It can also be said that it is for us humans. This seems to be why some species were eliminated, intentionally. Let me guess boldly. The Moon is like a remote control that controls the natural environment of our planet. If the Moon is much more closer to the Earth, then the Earth will cause frequent geological activities like earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, etc. If the Moon is a little further from the Earth, then the climate of the Earth will change, and the temperature will drop suddenly, making the Earth no longer suitable for living things. In this way, the Moon must be one of the mechanisms to control the Earth's environment. In what natural aspect is the environment being controlled with the Moon? Is the world we live in really the same after being virtualized? Do you think this is a coincidence? Do you have any ideas to share? Leave us a comment down below and let's discuss. If you like our video, please give us a thumbs up. Remember to click the subscribe and the notification bell for more updates. See you next time!